Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar hosted by Greenstone, How to Address Risk in a Global Supply Chain. Good afternoon to those of you in the UK and good morning to those of you joining from the US. I'm Giles Scott Hayward, Head of Supplier Portal at Greenstone, and I will be taking you through this webinar today. We will have 30 minutes, so hopefully you'll be able to stay for the full length. And what I hope we achieve today is to provide you with some insight on how we view risk in the supply chain and how we work with clients to help them identify and resolve this risk. Please enter any questions that you might have in the question box provided. We will respond to all questions and if appropriate create an FAQ document to share following the webinar. So just a quick overview of what we will go through today. We will briefly discuss the reasons for focusing on the supply chain in the first place and the potential impact on businesses, the different types of risk and how these apply to the different stages of a supplier management program, from supplier engagement through to the review and remediation process. We'll call that the risk journey. Lastly, we'll look at briefly how two clients of Greenstone's address their different risk challenges and the solutions that they use. I'm afraid you'll only have me for the webinar today, but my hope is not that we solve all of your problems in 30 minutes, but instead enable you to think more clearly about risk in relation to your suppliers and to understand that there are simpler ways in which to segment this risk so that you can begin to address it. I can safely say that none of our clients have a perfect picture of all aspects of their supplier management project when they begin, but that it becomes clearer once they start the process and also yet never stand still as they continue on their journey. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about Greenstone, but I suspect there'll be a number of people on the webinar who may be unfamiliar with what we do. So just a quick overview. Since 2007, we've been providing award-winning software that enables our clients to become more responsible businesses. The software is built by us and implemented and supported by our expert team of sustainability consultants. The solutions range across three different areas of sustainability, supply chain and ESG. Today we'll obviously be focusing on the work that we do around delivering Supplier Portal, which is our supply chain software, into client organizations to ensure that they hopefully create transparent, compliant and more responsible supply chains. So that's just a little bit about Greenstone. As I said, not too much, hopefully. So why do we worry about the supply chain at all? Businesses, I think, are now operating in a different world from 20 years ago. And if we really think about it, I suspect many of you listening today would say that you are operating under pretty different conditions than maybe 10 years or even 5 years ago. And whether you view this as a constraint, a drain on resources and something that impacts the bottom line, or rather the unleashing of opportunity to do business better and more sustainably for the people involved and for the planet, and ultimately to keep your organization relevant in the long term. Well, that's a matter of perspective. But supply chains have become more global, highly complex, and operate now at unprecedented scales and levels. So creating robust and sustainable supply chains has become a key ingredient for success in an increasingly globalized world. Quality, cost, delivery, reliability, these have been the focus for procurement professionals for a long time. And over the past few years, we've seen that change in relationship between procurement, sourcing, and sustainability. These were, I think, entirely independent not so long ago. The two areas, in fact, now they're expected not only to work together, but to be entirely integrated with each other. Even organisations without strong sustainability experience or expertise are expecting procurement professionals to embed sustainability in everything that they do. That's from supplier selection through to ongoing management. And in fact, I've spoken with procurement professionals who've resented or not understood, through no fault of their own, this change in approach. However, I think optimistically, more recently, there's been a greater understanding and optimism that procurement is a lever for real change, and a greater focus on providing procurement functions within organisations with the tools that they need and the knowledge base that they need to address this. So workforce health and safety issues, for example, labour disputes, geopolitical conflict, raw material shortages, environmental disasters, and of course new legislation in areas such as conflict minerals, modern slavery and data security have ensured a growing awareness of supply chain risks among customers, consumers, investors, employers and local communities. So this resulting increase in supplier legislation, as well as investor, customer, consumer expectations, has created an environment of culpability where businesses need to take responsibility for who they do business with. And in a world where supply chains happen to be, as we mentioned, more global and more complex than ever, this is a major challenge that exposes businesses to unprecedented risks.